Many of us have attraction patterns. When we look back at our history, we may see that we're attracted to very similar people, essentially the same person over and over and over. A different name perhaps, a different face, a different life, but so many similarities that we are virtually dating the same kind of person. Those attraction patterns are something that we need to take a look at because we want to change those patterns. They haven't worked to our benefit. So it's important to examine your attraction patterns. Now remember, attraction is the chemistry that you feel, as well as the superficial compatibility that you sense between yourself and another person. But we do have attraction patterns that we need to make note of. Let me give you an example. Men are often attracted to women with a very specific look. And that is because their body is saying, that woman is going to bear healthy offspring with me. In a sense, their body is running on a very old tape, and essentially a man is attracted to a woman based on her appearance, which would be the result of her genes. So this very animalistic, instinctive aspect of a man may be choosing his woman for him over and over and over. And that woman may not be the woman with whom you are compatible. Likewise, women may go for the bad boy. The bad boy is the risk taker. Now, it's important to know that women want risk takers because risk takers know how to handle risks. And if a risk taker can handle a risk, then he will provide safety for her if she chooses to partner with him and bear his offspring. So these are very old parts of our nature as human beings, but they really shouldn't be the position or the foundation from which we allow ourselves to engage in an intimate relationship. Instead, we need to decide consciously, with intention, what are we looking for in a relationship? And are we willing to say no to someone who has looked good to us over and over and over again, if it means that we can create something new and different and vibrant in a way that we've never experienced before? There is a lot of fantasy involved in thinking about the subject of attraction and chemistry and compatibility. And as we are formulating our vision of what we want in a relationship, our practical, level-headed, romantic, sexy, passionate relationship, it's very easy to engage in fantasies that are both healthy and unhealthy. And when you look at your attraction history, now that you have the 20/20 vision of hindsight, you can understand better what were you attracted to in those people. And when you think about fantasy, you must consider, are you coming from a place that's healthy in your thinking or that's pathological in your thinking? Let me give you an example. Many of us are attracted to people who would want us. Now, there is a fantasy aspect of being wanted, being cherished, being loved, being admired by someone who really sees the value in you. That is a healthy fantasy. On the other hand, if the majority of your attraction to someone comes from your desire to fix something, that fantasy is not a healthy fantasy. And the truth is, if someone is very angry, as an example, you wouldn't want to devote yourself to fixing that problem. It would be wiser to find someone that you can love for who they are today and how they treat you today. We are often attracted to people who remind us of someone from our past, perhaps an ex-lover, perhaps a friend or a mentor, and we interpret that this person has personality traits. In a sense, we give them the benefit of the doubt that they have personality traits that we truly admire, even if we don't know them very well. Well, that we are looking for someone with those traits is very healthy. That we pretend that someone we hardly know has those traits, that's not very healthy. We are also attracted to people who have money to spend on us. Now, if the attraction is brought by the desire to share a beautiful life, that can be very healthy. If it's brought by the desire to compensate for your own insecurity, that's not going to be a healthy fantasy, because in the course of the relationship, ultimately the weight of that responsibility can break the relationship. Many of us are attracted to people who need us. Perhaps we're trying to fulfill an old pain of not being needed or not being wanted. Absolutely, you want someone in your life who does need you, who benefits by your being there, who relies on you and looks to you for support. That would be a healthy fantasy. An unhealthy fantasy would be to look for someone who can make up for the pain you've experienced in your past. If you expect a future partner to compensate for what you didn't get in your last relationship, or the one before, or in your childhood, that's an unhealthy fantasy that will bring about a great deal of pain. Often we're attracted to people who we feel will help us get ahead. The fantasy of having someone support you in your career, that's a healthy one. The fantasy of being able to look to someone to get you ahead so that you can move forward professionally, that's not a healthy fantasy. So as you envision this love affair, be watchful what's healthy and what's unhealthy in those desires.